Oh, I'm back. So we in Taurus season now. So shout out to all the tourists out there. It's y'all season. So like I've been doing, I want to talk about tours, give a breakdown of all things tours, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I want to talk about my experiences that I have had with tours, dealing with tours. Um, I guess I'm gonna start off with the good and the bad before I get into my experience personally dealing with tourists, people who tours. Um, I don't know if I should start with the good or the bad. I guess I'll start with the good. So for the tourists that's watching, so y'all won't leave the video when I start naming all of the bad stuff about y'all sign. So starting with the good. So what do we know about Taurus? All the things that they say, of course, about Taurus is true. Taurus is an earth sign, so most Taurus crave stability within the relationship and when it comes to a career. So, and I have experienced that from all of the Taurus that I know. So that's one of the main things. Like Taurus are just like all of the earth signs, really. They're the ones that want to be married, that want to be in a long-term partnership, especially Taurus for sure. Because every Taurus I know is married or been in a long-term relationship. Taurus, like not like a sign, like a fire sign, like a Sagittarius or Aries who might hop from place to place and from person to person. Taurus is probably the most steadiest sign. Because all Earth signs get associated with being steady, but I would probably say Taurus probably is the most steadiest sign. Because because they're fixed, so they fixed Earth, so which makes them stable. Because all fixed signs are able to be stuck on one thing, which can be good and bad, because that can, on the negative side with Taurus, is that's why Taurus is one of the signs most likely to stay in a bad relationship, a relationship that they know they shouldn't be in, a relationship that they should have been left. I see that a lot with Taurus. A lot of Taurus are pushovers in relationship. A lot of Taurus take their ex back from cheating. I done seen that a lot with Taurus because they're fixed. So, and that's why they always say that fixed signs usually are the most loyal signs. Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus. Even though all four of them signs cheat and can be unloyal, but them four is gonna give you the most likelihood of being loyal, of sticking by your side. Like most people know Scorpios, even though a Scorpio might cheat, a Scorpio always gonna be there for you. Same for Aquarius. You can always depend on them. And then the same, Leos are real loyal. That's what they known for. Even though Leos cheat a lot, but Leos are known for being real loyal, and so is Taurus. So the same thing that helped Taurus, because Taurus, on the good side, when it comes to being fixed, Taurus are the ones that can stick to that can stay at a job for a long time, be real stable at a job and in their career versus other signs who, like air signs and fire signs, who might bounce all over the place and quit one job. You can find a Taurus who's been at the same job for 10 years, 15 years, or you can find a Taurus who has a career and been in that career for years and years. So, and they the ones that can finish something. That's what they known as the finisher. So they the ones that they slow to start, but they when they do start something, they gonna finish it. Versus a sign like again, Aries is a sign who was quick to start things, but then also quick to finish things. So that's another positive about Taurus is that Taurus, they are stable and they will finish what they started, whether it's school or training for something. If Taurus starts something, they usually gonna finish it. So them being fixed is both. It works out in a good way and a bad way, which like I just explained. So also Taurus, on the positive, Taurus, like I put in the title, when y'all looked at it and I think about it, Taurus probably is the most about their money sign. They not the richest sign, because I know some people gonna say Libras had the most billionaires, and there's a lot of other signs, and the richest person in the world is Elon Musk, a Cancer, or Jeff Bezos, who's a Capricorn, or then you look at a lot of millionaires might be um fire signs or air signs, because a lot of air signs is musicians. Air signs is it's the communicators, so they're the ones that make the music, and a lot of them are actors. And then with fire signs, a lot of them play sports. So you would think in that way, but when we talk about on average for the typical person, I think that Taurus is the most about getting money. Like, it's hard. Like, what I mean by that is that it's hard pressed for it'd be hard pressed for you to find a broke Taurus, is what I'm saying. Other signs they might have, like I said, more billionaires or more highs, but then they will also have more lows and more broke people. Like Aries. Aries could be the perfect example. There's a lot of Aries who millionaires and got a lot of money, but then there's also a lot of broke Aries also, like, struggling. And then even the same for my sign, like there's a lot of rich Aquarius like Michael Jordan or Oprah and so on and so on. But there's also a lot of, broke, can't take care of themselves Aquarius also. I think Taurus on average is the most stable sign. Like, they the ones that just on average gonna have the most money. I guess that's the best way that I can put it. Because every Taurus that I know, and looking at Taurus just at the sign, is about their money. All of them is about their money. So I'm trying not to get into my experiences with Taurus just yet, but the Taurus that I know, all of them it's about their money. And then getting into the bad side, on the flip side of that, a lot of tourists are materialistic. Whether some of them will admit it, but even Taurus moons, like people, like I think, yeah, Floyd is a Pisces with a Taurus moon, and we see how materialistic he is, and that comes from the Pisces also. But like Taurus is a real materialistic sign, so that's why Taurus love money and focus on money so much, because they love material things. They like you, and then they rule by Venus with Libras, because Libras love beautiful things and nice things also. Don't get it mistaken. So when you like beautiful and nice things, them things cost. So that would lead Taurus, just like Libra, to be real fixated on money. But Taurus even more so than Libra, because it's the earth sign, so it's dealing with stability. Libra, air sign, cares about mental stimulation and communication just as much as it does stability and beautiful things. So, because a Libra gonna need that mental stimulation. A Taurus don't necessarily need that mental stimulation unless they got some air in their chart. But for the most part, all the Taurus need is stability. Somebody that's gonna stick by their side. Somebody that's gonna be there for them. And that's why Taurus usually go best with other earth signs. And I would say Taurus, earth signs especially, even more so than fire, air, um, I'm missing one, fire, air, or water. Yeah, even more so than the other elements. I think earth signs belong most with earth signs, because they understand each other the most when it comes to stability and sticking together, versus other signs, especially. That's why air and fire signs typically don't go with earth signs or don't mess with Taurus, because air signs and fire signs is the least stable. Like, they want to have fun, they want to be ventures. A lot of them want to be players. A lot of them want to be out there. Like, fire and earth signs are the extroverts of the zodiac. So that's why typically they don't go with Taurus and earth signs, because they're not stable enough. Like Taurus, but even more so than water signs, even though a Taurus and a Scorpio can work, or a Taurus and a Pisces, there's a lot of them type of relationships, because water go with earth. But the best bet for me, if you a Taurus, would be with the Virgo or a Capricorn. And then you look at relationships like LeBron and Savannah, that's a Capricorn and a Virgo. Then you got Kobe Bryant and his wife, that's a Taurus and a Virgo. So, and then I know, like, when I get into the people that I know who are Taurus, another Taurus that I know is with the Virgo, and they've been together for a long time and got kids. So if you a Taurus, I recommend you getting with another Earth sign. But of course, if you've been on my page, your entire chart matters. So if you a Taurus with the air moon and air Venus, like, if you got a Gemini moon and a Aquarius Venus, then you might be able to deal with the air sign more. It might not, so it's not, of course, black and white when it comes to astrology. Always remember that your Venus and your moon sign gonna matter also when it comes to compatibility. But anyway, so that's one of the positive things about Taurus. Most of them are about their money. Most of them has a career. Most of them are hard workers. Taurus are hard workers for sure. Um, oh, and then of course, the last positive about Taurus is that the women, of course, that I can only speak to the women. Taurus is one of the most beautiful signs. They was actually ranked #1 when I ranked the top 5 most beautiful zodiac signs. Taurus actually came in #1 because Taurus got a lot of beautiful women. Then just like Libra, they the sign of beauty, so that's why there's a lot of good looking Libras like Kim Kardashian or Ruby Rose or Amber Rose. And then with Taurus, you got Jessica Alba and so on. Jessica Alba, one of the most beautiful women of all time, is a Taurus. Like I said, Tamia, the singer Grant Hill wife that I just looked up, she's a Taurus. Gadden, I don't know if I'm saying her name wrong. She was in when she Wonder Woman. Yeah, I think she was Wonder Woman. Yeah, she is. So Wonder Woman, she attractive. She's a Taurus. Adele not known for her looks, but Adele not an ugly woman, especially since she lost weight. Adele got a pretty face. Janet Jackson is a Taurus. Um, who was a sex symbol back in the day is a Taurus. Um, Amber Heard. You got Rosio, man, just Dawson from she played in a lot of stuff, but I remember her from He Got Game, the movie with Denzel Washington and a basketball player, Ray Allen. She was Ray Allen's girlfriend. Um, oh, Christina Hendricks, she another one. That's another good thing about Taurus. Also, they one of the best looking signs. They about their money and they stable, they loyal, and you can depend on them. Now, the negative side about Taurus, some I didn't say it, is that they are materialistic. So when it comes to materialistic, a lot of them, some of them are show off, some of them are not. So it comes to of course, it's gonna be a bad thing. The tourists who are show offs, who like to show off and brag about what they got, because most people don't like somebody who like to brag, and then it always feel like you overcompensating for something. So that's one of the negatives. And then, of course, when it comes to relationships, of course, tourists, especially the tourist female, could date for stability. Like that could be the #1 thing that a tourist woman cares about versus looks or the character or whatever. Like, Taurus like could Taurus could be the classic gold digger, just like a lot of Libras are gold diggers too. Like they can be the typical girl, like, okay, I'm gonna date this person because he a millionaire. I want to date this person because he got this or he can help me in my career. That's Taurus all day. So that's what you have to worry about with Taurus. And then when we don't get into my experience with Taurus is that Taurus is a sign, like especially the female, like they would if they going to cheat because they are loyal, but they will cheat for financial gain. Like if let's say a Taurus is with somebody, but they lose their job or they not financially providing, and then Taurus knows somebody who has money, like they would cheat with somebody who has money if their significant other is lacking. Like even a man, matter of fact, because a Taurus guy that I know he did that. Like he lost his job and he was dealing with some overweight girl, because she was buying him stuff. She was buying him his weed and his cigarettes and stuff like that. So that's a Taurus type of thing. Like they will mess with somebody for money. And if you're a Taurus, you know that that's one of your traits. Of course, it's not all Taurus, but that's a big thing with Taurus. Like Taurus is about their bag. So in a positive way to where they will work to achieve that, but then in a negative way, they would just get with somebody who has money. So that's one of the negatives. Another negative about Taurus is that, of course, the obvious that they always say is that Taurus are stubborn. It's hard for them to change their mind. So I don't need to go over that, but like I said, that goes both ways. That's what makes them steady at a job and be able to keep a job or finish a project. But then on the flip side, that's what keeps them in bad relationships and friendships that they should get out of. So that's a negative and a good and a bad trait. Then what else about tours? The negative about tours. Some tours are crazy, and I'm just now finding this out when I started looking at certain people who tours, like there's the quiet tours, because tourists are known for being quiet. There's not a whole bunch of celebrity tours like that. Like they more so because tourists are known for being laid back into themselves. It's a lot of tours like that, but then there are a lot of crazy, like out there tours, like real vocal type of tours, like Charleston White. If y'all know who Charleston White is, he a Taurus. He a Taurus sun and moon. Kevin Garnett, if y'all know the basketball player, he a Taurus. Real vocal and out there. Who else? Oh, Hitler. You know, Hitler was a Taurus. So, like there is a certain Taurus, like they do got that crazy vocal side to it. Some tourists are really like that. And that comes to don't you can't never forget that tourist is a bull. So even though they know for being laid back, like when they get angry, and a lot of them can be like a bull and like to fight and stuff like that when you really look into it. And I'm just now figuring that out when I'm starting to look at a lot of tours. Like, yes, a lot of laid back tours, but then there's a lot of tours like the ones that I named who really is. And then Malcolm X, who I just posted, he's a tourist, and he's outspoken. So. But the moon sign matters because when you look at the moon sign, it lines up because like Kevin Garnett got a Aquarius moon, Malcolm X got an Aries moon. Who else I named? But then Charleston White got a Sun and moon sign in Taurus. So, but I didn't look at what his Mercury and Mars is. But yeah, a lot of Taurus can be outspoken and crazy to a certain degree. What else about Taurus? That's really it about the niggas about Taurus off the top of my head. Because Taurus is one of the better signs when I get into it. Like every sign has their problem, but they don't have a long list of problems. But the three main problems that they do have is the problem. Like they said, they are materialistic. So if you're not a materialistic person, you might not want to deal with or be able to mess with a Taurus. Like I said, Taurus is a sign that will cheat, even without financial. Like a lot of Taurus that I know are cheaters, like and then cheat. But the Taurus, this is the thing about the Taurus cheaters because when it comes to astrology, all signs cheat, but how they do it is different. So, Taurus, all Earth signs is really like this. Earth signs is the type that they want to have their main person. They the classic ones, like they want to have a wife or a husband, but still be out cheating also. Versus like air signs is the type, or even fire signs like Aries and Sagittarius will just stay single and cheat. Like just be players. Like even a lot of Scorpios is like that, like to where I'm just gonna be a player. Like you just gonna know that I got a bunch of different other people. I'm not gonna commit to nobody. Earth signs, they have to commit to somebody because they need that stability. They need that stable person. But at the same time, they will turn around and still be cheating and have side people and side people also. But then that's also why Earth signs are most likely to accept cheating also because Earth signs will take somebody back, especially Taurus, because like I said, they don't like to lead a relationship. But at the same time, because they need that stability, so they will keep somebody who bad for them or who a cheater, long as they know that that person by their side. But at the same time, they'll be cheating also. So that's something that you got to keep in mind about all earth signs, but then especially Taurus, because I said Taurus more so because we Capricorn get associated with two, like they say that Capricorn, because Capricorn's rule to work like a Capricorn woman will cheat on you with her boss or to get a promotion. Like that's what Capricorn's associated with. So it's still for financial gain and stability. But Taurus like will straight up just cheat, like will be somebody would have like a sugar daddy on the side, or have somebody who giving her money on the side, or like I told you about the my guy friend, he lost his job, so he was dealing with a girl just because, even though he wasn't attracted to her, but she was giving him money. So you got to consider that also. So that's another negative trait. Then of course them being stubborn and not being able to change their mind, being it hard for them to change their mind, which is also a good and a bad thing. So that's the three negative things about Taurus. So getting into my experiences with Taurus, uh, I know a few Taurus. It's not my, cause like I said, Aries and Aquarius, my sign is probably the sign that I know the most people that I did interact and had a most personal relationship with, and then Scorpios too. But I know quite a Taurus probably in the middle. I know quite a few Taurus. My barber's a Taurus. Shout out to my barber out there. Um, my uncle, my mom's brother is a Taurus. Who else is a Taurus? I had a neighbor who was a Taurus. The Taurus I just told you about that was using the girl for money. That was my next door neighbor when I was staying in some apartments a couple years ago. Who else do I know that is a Taurus? I'm missing somebody. Oh, and then I dealt with two Taurus females before. One I dealt with for like 5 years, and then the other one I dealt with for like 2 months. So yeah, I only dealt with two Taurus females. So them the five Taurus that I know off the top of my head. I might be missing somebody, but them the most significant ones. So getting into it. So my experience, of course, with my barber has always been great. He been cutting my hair since I was 18 because I had braids all through high school. From I started growing my hair at like 11. Then I had braids from like 13 to 18. Then I finally cut it off because I just got tired of having hair, and it was hard to find somebody to braid my hair, and it was just too expensive. It just ended up being too much. So it was somebody who cut my hair. I forgot his name, who originally cut my afro and all of that off. But we ended up moving from where I was at. So we ended up moving by 8 Mile, actually 8 Mile and Mile. So if you're from Detroit, you know where that's at. So there was a barbershop on 8 Mile and Ryan right next to a Taco Bell. So that was the closest barbershop. So the second person, my second haircut after the first one, and ever since then, he been the one who cut my hair going on like 12 years now. Since I was 18 and I'm 34 now. So y'all do the math. It's been that long. So he been kind of like a father figure to me because I didn't know him so long. And with your barber, especially black barbers, you share everything with, you talk to, you know how the barber shop is. So over 10 years that I've been knowing him, and he shows all of the Taurus traits, of course, shout out to him. Like, he love nice things. Um, I know he ain't gonna like me calling him materialistic, but like he liked nice things. He always had a nice car, a nice watch. He uh he married, he been married since he was like 20 or 21. All of the things a Taurus did, like I said, he been a barber since he was like early 20s. So that's his career. So and he worked like every day because his wife is a stay-at-home mom, took care of his three kids. He got three boys. So like your typical tourist stuff, like I said, like been married since he was 20, um, have a career about his money. So, cool dude. And he one of the more vocal tourists. I meant to look up what his moon sign is and what his Mercury is, but he one of the more vocal tourists that there is for sure. So always cool, but definitely about his money, like all tourists is. Like getting into my uncle, my mom, brother. Typical tourist. He's a police officer. At one point, he was the chief of police. That was his career. He had his house built from the ground up. The only person that we know, always had a nice car. He got like four cars right now, like him and his wife. And of course, he's married. Been married to his wife like 15 years. So, like I said, just kind of like a replica of my barber. Like, both married, both had long careers, both had nice things. So, but my uncle, like, he more so the tourist that's to himself. Like, we don't talk, really, we rarely talk to him, rarely see him. He kind of be off into his own world, but then he a police officer too. So I get that he don't really like my lifestyle to a certain degree and my brother, especially when we growing up, just being typical, kids growing up smoking weed, drinking, driving with a suspended license, stuff that young kids from the inner city do. And, that even, that a lot of kids go through, smoking, drinking, partying, having fun. And he a police officer. So he always kind of looked at us like, like, okay, like y'all outcast or whatever like that. But it is what it is. But that's my uncle. So that's how I relate to his Taurus traits and him being a Taurus. Then getting into my neighbor, I just told you all about my neighbor. He wasn't married because he was a young dude. He the youngest. Like, of course, my uncle and my barber is older. My neighbor he was like 2 years older than me though. So, but he wasn't like older like that. He was at the time, I think I was like 28 and he was like 30. So, but he had a long-term girlfriend that he had for like 6 years. Uh, and then I told y'all a story about him cheating. Then all three then cheated before. And I was shocked, of course, the most about my barber because he just seemed like, just such a typical man, like a typical good man. And him and his wife had such a great relationship in the church. But early on, which makes sense, when you early on and you 20 years old and you young, of course, that makes sense. But, all of them then cheated. And especially, like I said, my neighbor, because he was young, he was cheating on his girl all the time. I see him bringing girls over. So all three of them displayed the Taurus traits that I didn't talked about earlier. So the two Taurus females that I didn't dealt with, one that I didn't dealt with, that I dealt with on and off for 5 years, she with me and her, because like I always say this, like they always astrology is truthful and real. Because I'm an Aquarius, so if you look at it, they always say Aquarius and Taurus don't get along. It's probably the second worst matchup behind Aquarius and the Cancer, but I say Pisces. Aquarius and the Pisces is gonna be is super toxic. But shout out to Kevin Gates and Brittany Renner, but and Blueface and Krishan Rock. But Aquarius and Taurus typically don't get along because they just so different. Because what I found like dealing with the two Taurus girls that I dealt with is that like communication is just not there like that. Like I said, because with an air sign, we crave mental stimulation and communication. That's why we get along the most with other air signs and then fire signs. And then we need that excitement also. Taurus is kind of like, too boring, too laid back for Aquarius. And then like Aquarius can feel like they not mentally like they're like able to like connect with them mentally like because like a Taurus can be like a surface level thinker in a lot of ways when it comes to things versus like Aquarius can, is known for being more so of a deep thinker. So that's where the disconnect can come on the Aquarius part, but then on the Taurus part they can feel like of course Aquarius is not stable enough, won't give them the commitment that they need, or Aquarius might not be stable enough with their job or their career. It could be things like that that don't match that the Taurus don't like about the Aquarius. So it typically don't match. The only relationship that I've seen that does work is like a friends with benefits, and or a relationship to where like it's beneficial, like something like sex and money, because them two things that Aquarius and Taurus get along the most about and a lot and can agree on sex and money. They might not agree on nothing else, but them two things they agree on. So if the relationship is built on that, like I said, they can have the perfect friends with benefits type relationship. But something serious, no, it's not gonna really work too much. So I say that to be with the girl that I was talking to for 5 years. We could never be nothing serious, or it would never be that, but we was able to connect on that type of level, on the sex and money type of level, and both of us being hustlers and being able to work together. The next Taurus girl that I dated for 2 months, she was really craving a relationship, and she was one of the ones that told me that off the beginning, typical Taurus stuff. So me being the Aquarius that I am, I'm not. opposed to a relationship, but I'm not rushing into a relationship. I'm gonna take my time, 6 months to a year or whatever. She wanted things to move fast, so of course that was our number one problem. That I wasn't willing to commit fast enough for her. So of course that ended up being the reason why we stopped talking. Then also being distant and aloof, another thing, another reason why I won't work with Aquarius and the Taurus is because Taurus, like I said, need that stability, and Aquarius is kind of too aloof, and a lot of Aquarius like to be by themselves, like to be alone, and Taurus is not going for that. Like Taurus, of course, want to be with their partner, need to see their partner on a consistent basis, and a lot of Aquarius is not going to be able to give a Taurus that. So that can end up being a big problem in the relationship, and that ended up being the reason why we stopped talking. So that's really my relationship with Taurus. Like I said, I like them because, like I said, I find a lot of Taurus attractive. Um, I find a lot of Taurus, like a lot of Taurus like know how to cook. Oh, I can't believe I missed that. Taurus is the foodies of the zodiac. So a lot of Taurus are great cooks, and know how to cook and love to cook. So that's another good thing. Also, you got somebody who beautiful and know how to cook. That's why Taurus can make really good wives. If I had the rate, like Libra and Taurus probably is the top two that I would say when it comes to, like, if you're looking for a wife, because like I said, I can't speak on a husband and that type of dynamics, but they probably do they probably do make the best wives along with Cancer. Of course, Cancer have to be top three because Cancer is the family zodiac sign. They the ones they rule the family life. Let's just put it like that. So a lot of Cancers is the most nurturing sign. Cancers love to cook. So them are probably the top three signs that just off of astrology that I feel like would make the best wives. It's a Taurus, a Libra, or a Cancer. So, you know, Taurus is one of the better signs, even though, like I said, they typically don't go with my sign, but they one of the better signs. Like I said, there's a lot of worse signs than the Taurus, trust me. Like they definitely on a better side. They have their problems, of course, like I didn't name, but overall, Taurus, like I said, Taurus is one of the signs. Like I would deal with a Taurus over a lot of signs. There's a lot of signs that I just can't deal with. Like I told you, for me personally, like um a Pisces, I just can't do a Pisces at all. And not even saying that they bad. People are just like it just don't click. And then Pisces has more